the one who out of nothing created us and brought us to life, and the one that to nothing He will reduce us when He so chooses, and then He will once again return us back to life for eternity. And may His finest peace and blessings be upon His chosen one, His most praiseworthy prophet, who will enjoy the station of praise on the Day of Judgment and intercede on behalf of the creation when they need it most. Brothers and sisters, do you know why Allah calls the last day Yawmul Qiyamah? The day of Qiyamah, resurrection, or standing. From Qiyam, standing. Because it is the day that humanity will rise to stand, not for 5, not for 50, not for 500, not for 5,000, but 50,000 years. Except, exempted from that, are those whom Allah will allow to experience these 50,000 as if they are the span between Dhuhr and Asr prayer. Do you know why He called it Yawmuddin? The day of Deen here means repayment. Because only then will His justice be perfected, and it's unrealistic to expect it before that day. It's on that day that those who sacrificed sincerely, oftentimes in the shadows, will get their due credit and recognition. And those who conspired, oftentimes in the shadows, will get their due exposure, disgrace, condemnation. It's the day of repayment. He even said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you will surely deliver to all, meaning sooner or later, what is owed to them, because on the day of judgment, even the mountain ram that did not have horns, that was head-butted by the mountain ram that had the horns, it will get its rights back. Think about that. It doesn't go to paradise or the hellfire, but to demarcate that today is the day of repayment. Do you know why Allah called it Yawmul Fasl, the day of final verdicts? No appeals courts. That is the day when people who took credit without due, without deserving it, will be exposed. And those who were blamed may actually be turned, we may discover they were deserving of all of the celebration. It's when the blame game, the fingers stop, the false claims collapse, final verdicts, disputes settle. Or do you know why He called it Al-Haqqah, the ultimate reality, or Al-Waqi'ah, the inevitable reality? Because we should not have been surer about anything like we're sure about that day. That day makes this life almost not real. That's the real day. And why He called it As-Sakha, the deafening blast. Because when that day happens, everything falls silent. This world and all its noise suddenly becomes muted, and the sounds of the hereafter emerge. I begin like this to ask a bigger question. Why do we have over 50 names for the Day of Judgment? Further and further and further describing it, illustrating it for us. Why is there hardly a page in the Quran that does not have a mention, direct or indirect, brief or elaborate, about the Day of Judgment? Because Allah is the most merciful. وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ وَاللَّهُ رَؤُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Allah warns you of Himself because Allah is tenderly affectionate with His servants. He's purging the pixels. You know the pixels, the pixelation, the blurriness? He's purging it for you with all this detail to purify your faith with it. Yes, it might be a little scary, but faith, our faith in Islam, the most dominant emotion you should have regarding Allah must be love. Love ultimately. But at many times our faith begins with fear initially. Allah said this in the Quran. Allahu nazzala ahsan al-hadith kitaban mutashabihan mathani. I sent down this Quran تَقْشَعِرُّ مِنْهُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم, that causes shivers to run up the skins of those who fear their Lord. ثُمَّ, and then after that, stage 2. ثُمَّ تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ وَقُلُوبُهُمْ إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. That is when after that, their skins and their hearts find peace. In the remembrance of Allah do the hearts find peace, right? It's a second stage. Fear in the right dose is powerful to get your faith started or restarted. And nothing will give you more clarity and more strength. As Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَاذْكُرْ عِبَادَنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ أُولِي الْأَيْدِي وَالْأَبْصَارِ. Recall the great examples of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, who had so much strength and so much vision. Where did it come from? Allah said, إِنَّا أَخْلَصْنَاهُمْ بِخَالِصَةٍ ذِكْرَ الدَّارِ. We distinguish them with an exclusive quality. What is it? Dhikr ad-dar. The ability to so vividly, so clearly recall the real home, the real world, the world of the afterlife. When Allah wishes well for a person, as Khalid bin Ma'dan rahimahullah would say, He allows two eyes to open up in your heart. An eye staring at paradise and an eye staring at the hellfire. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak rahimahullah once said to a fellow scholar, Sahl ibn Adi, he said to him, Ayna balaght? Like, why are you daydreaming? Where'd you go? You know, you're sitting with someone and they doze, you say, where'd you go? So he said to him, where did you go? So he said back to him, ila sirat, I got to the bridge. In other words, I'm sitting there and I'm playing out the events of the Day of Judgment in my head. I'm up to the point where people have to cross the bridge over the fire. That's where he went, if you will. That's an act of worship. Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah asked Yusuf ibn Asbat for some water to perform the night prayers, like those we're offering now. And Yusuf ibn Asbat comes back at Fajr time, he sees the water untouched. He didn't pray at all at night. He asked him what happened. He said, I got caught up reflecting on the hour that is worth more than our lives. And so this Ramadan, brothers and sisters, I have chosen to dedicate my reminders to what I will call a timeline of eternity. That sounds a little bit oxymoronic, like it's a contradiction. How can there be a timeline for eternity? Because eternity is the end of time, right? No, we just want to speak about the beginning, the build up to this, so that we can better connect it with our lives. You know, they say that the average American today spends 4 to 5 hours on their phone. That means about 2 to 3 months of their year on their phone. That means 10 to 20 years of their life on their phone. But that's not the scariest or the most dangerous statistic to me. The most dangerous one for me is the fact that this pile-on happens intermittently. What do I mean? 4 to 5 hours comes from what? 186 times a day do we check our phone. Right? Our thoughts are constantly interrupted by other thoughts. Even after you put down the phone, your brain is still toggling, still has racing thoughts. So even when you have a crystal clear picture of the Day of Judgment, it doesn't penetrate. The seed doesn't get far enough to settle and sprout. And so I'm hopeful, inshallah, if Allah permits, in this series, we will try to lay out some of the events so that when you do your part and you read the Quran, you're able to contextualize. You have a mind map now of where these snapshots we find all over the Quran land in this chronology, in this sequence. And in hopes that you will become like the earlier Muslims who benefited from Allah's mercy in the form of these elaborate descriptions of the Day of Judgment or the hereafter in general, you will be able to connect it with your everyday life. It was said that Umar used to pass his finger over the candle and say, you can't handle this. So how will you handle the big fire? And Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu would stop in front of the store, if you will, of the blacksmith that's forging metal into the fire to build out swords and the likes. And he would weep, meaning, I hope I am not one day requiring of having the ugly things purged out of me using fire. That's how you purify metal. I hope I'm not subject to that one day. And Rabi' al-Adawiyya, she used to see the snow fall and remember tatayur al-suhuf, She would remember the hundreds of billions of records landing in the creation's hands. Everyone is going to receive the book that gets published on the Day of Judgment. And Abu Hazim used to walk through the markets. These are all from the earliest generations of Islam. We have what they have, the same resource. Abu Hazim rahimahullah would walk through the markets fasting. And he would see a fruit that was very desirable to him. So he would resist the urge of aborting his fast by saying to that fruit, "Maw'idukum al-Jannah, I'll see you in Jannah." It would remind him of the fruits of Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit us with what we say and what we hear, and allow what is remaining of our life to be better than what has passed, and the ultimate best day of our life, the day that we meet Him. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad, wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Whether you benefit from ISA's work offline or online, your support is a huge part of what makes it possible. So click below this Ramadan to support with your donations this sacred cause, and know that Allah multiplies reward and wealth in this month like no other month.